Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. It is TJ, your host. It's time for some narcissist trash talk. This evening's discussion is designed for those of you who think you may be involved with a cluster B creature based on the information you've heard and witnessed. The goal tonight is to inform you that if you find yourself dealing with one of these creatures and it's a romantic type relationship, the longer you remain in this situation, the worse it's going to be in the end. Because it's pretty much inevitable it's going to end. Just look at their history. You can reinterpret their tales of,
I had 10 lovers and they were cheating.
Or whatever it says. Those stories will start to take on new meaning when you realize that those stories were reversed. Those stories were situations where the creature was the evil one. The other ones left because of that. But they could never tell you this. But we can cover what typically will happen if you start to suspect you might be involved with such a creature. Our first natural instinct is to think that, well, this could be a cluster B creature, but it's not. And you might even look through the list of narcissistic traits that state they're selfish and egocentric and entitled. And if all you've got to go on is the love bombing phase, you'll be thinking, oh, I'm so well off. I'm glad I'm not dealing with that. But see, you don't see any of this right off the bat because they have to cover it up in sugar coating. But once you've been involved for a while and the pieces have started to slip out that indicate there's something wrong, that's when you're probably coming to videos like this to see, is this what I'm dealing with or not? Well, in the typical cycle, if you're a nice person and you've met this creature and it's done an effective job of love bombing you, you've probably built a foundation upon that. Plus all of your interests that nobody else seems to be interested in, but this person is. That is a special extra point in your book. And all the mirroring and how the creature makes it look like it's just like you. You feel like you found a match made in heaven, but then these other things that cause cognitive dissonance when you realize that the person said they'd always be faithful and loyal, but it ran off with that other girl. How could that be? What will happen with those of us who are real is we'll go through the love bombing. That'll build our foundation. We'll think we've got a great person, but then something comes up that isn't ideal. And then we'll have the inclination to want to fix it. Because in our brain, it's like that slot machine syndrome. You've been pulling the lever and getting money and money and money, but all of a sudden there's a problem with the coins. They're not falling out whenever you use one particular machine, so you think, well, there's something wrong with that machine, let's fix it. And it's a typical desire to fix things because we've gone this far for so long, which in many cases, they simply think that spending time with you, even if they're silent, is somehow going to build some closeness or connection with you. It might on your end. You'll just think to yourself, well, person doesn't talk a lot, but person's here all the time. It must really like me. And so you'll just fill in the blanks in your own mind. But once the snags start to occur, your instinct is to fix them. So you might come up with creative ways to try to address certain situations, whatever they may be. And that can prolong a relationship with such a creature, which is to your detriment. And yes, I understand if you spent this much time with someone, they've fit into your schedule every week, and it's like a regular thing, and all of a sudden you're noticing cracks in their pavement. It's kind of difficult and kind of unrealistic to just say, oh, it's over. So we want to fix it. We want to say, hey, when this situation happened, you had done this, and I think it's because of, and you try to have any discussion. These creatures don't care what you have to say because they are using you as an object. You are fulfilling a purpose for them that's secret and will not be made known to you. A parallel example I can give would be if there's a guy who really likes some chick and he cannot stand children, but he really wants this chick because she's got a huge bank account that he thinks he's going to get his hands on. She tells him, oh, I've got a son. He's 3 years old. Well, this creature is going to think, a son, I can't stand kids. But when the son's there, guess what he's going to do? He's going to treat the son kind of like he's treating you in your relationship, where he's going to be, oh, what kind of toys do you like? Oh, guess what? I got you this toy. And it's all fake. It's all agenda-driven. If that lady, for example, died tomorrow and that kid said, hi, I want to play more, he'd be like, get lost, kid. because he's only talking to the kid because it serves a purpose. Well, that is a parallel to how this creature is viewing you. You are there to fulfill a purpose for it that it's not going to tell you about. But what typically happens when you try these things, you're giving this creature the information that you are a fixer. You want things to work. And then you're willing to overlook the sickening things this person has done because probably it gave you gaslighting excuses and blame them on you somehow, and you partially believe it's true, which it's not. But if you hang in there, what can typically happen too in these situations is you find yourself internally branching off into their world because they'll say certain things even though they're fake. You'll see them doing things that are nice that you typically wouldn't do. You may find yourself changing on your own, just thinking, wow, well, this person seems to be really well organized and positive, so I think I'll be more like that. And you can even give up some of your own typical characteristics in favor of this person as an inspiration. That kind of blends you. Again, it's like a one-sided connection because the other person's there looking at you and you think, oh, well, this person must be feeling the same thing, but of course they're not. They're just thinking,
I got more time with this one. Oh, it's lasting longer than the others that figured me out.
And then they also deep down think that if you are foolish enough to stick around with this creature, then you deserve whatever hell they're going to unleash upon you later. But of course, they would usually never say this to you. Typically, if you're a friendly, nice person who's not used to such creatures, it's in your nature to not just give up on something. So if you've had a great history for like a year or so, but then you've uncovered some certain sickening things, it's typical for you to think, oh, well, this just must be some kind of slip-up. I can help. I'll fix this. And guess what? You don't even know what you're dealing with. You think you do, but you don't. And that is working to their advantage. The creature knows that you didn't know them before you met them, so they started off with a clean slate. But now the slate's starting to get scribbled up and they want to try to erase it as much as they can. But a friendly, nice person typically thinks things internally like, I'm not going to give up on this person just because of this one thing. It was probably a misunderstanding. The excuse it gave made sense. Wrong. But typically a friendly person won't just want to discard like they do. So they'll want to stick in there as long as they can. And you feel you've grown personally when involved with this creature. You think that you're connecting to another human being. There's just a small slip up here or there. The problem we don't normally understand or realize is that the problems that are uncovered are indications of deal-breaking situations that have no solution. There is no idea you can come up with to make it better because you're dealing with a defective person, a defective partial person. You may think you're connecting together. You may take on some of the other person's sayings just to be funny and sweet as they take on yours and they're mirroring, where in your case it's just genuine fun, but in their case it's calculated. The point is it's not an even exchange. You're being a real person. You are enjoying your life with this person, expressing yourself honestly. You're getting the same kind of thing back, but it's only a matter of time before you realize that everything you're getting back is based in fakery. There comes a time when you, the nice person, has to go against your grain and realize that giving this person another chance is not the right option for you. Even though it's contrary to all you've believed so far in your life, in these cases it's different. Because chances are you've melded with this person. You've let them sink their hooks into your life, and you think that you've become a bigger, better person because of this creature. And the longer this goes on, the harder it is to break away from. And the more you'll be tempted to try again, to fix this or fix that. But you have to eventually realize this creature is not fixable, and just be glad you're not with it if you've been discarded or if you've left it, because whoever it's with now is being wreaked havoc upon, as opposed to, let's say, somebody you went out with 2 or 3 times and they displayed something, or you found out something that indicated they were a cluster B creature. You could probably easily just say, you know what, this isn't working, never mind, bye, see ya, and be gone. It wouldn't matter to you. But when you've spent all this time, invested all these months, years in some cases, or decades, it's that much harder to just break away from. Because chances are by this point, you've got several things together that are financial or property type things that you can't just step away from that you could have after the first 3 dates. So if you're involved with one thinking you can fix things, it's time to give up on that. Even though it goes against your traditional beliefs, these people don't fit in regular situations. So do yourself a favor and get out if possible. No explanation needed.
I am the Narcopath, and I'm the only one for you. No one else will ever love you like I do.
Please, you don't leave me. Please give me another chance. I didn't lie. It was a misunderstanding. Please, tell me you don't want to go the rest of your life without ever kissing this face again, do you? I didn't think so. Now give me another chance. Come on. Come on.
Let me tell you a little secret. I know that when things ended, you probably said that about me, that I was grandiose and egocentric. But do you recall the beginning stages?
I did anything you wanted. I went anywhere you wanted. And I'd tell you, oh, don't worry about me not liking that thing you want to go to. I just want to be with you. That'll make me happy. I went from that to being the selfish, egocentric, and grandiose witch that I became towards the end. My true colors started to show, but I conveniently blamed that on you, because you used to wonder and ask me, what happened to that sweet chick I first started dating who did everything for me? I told you, honey, you ruined her. You chased her away. One additional confession or secret I'm going to tell you about. Throughout our relationship, I'm sure you probably picked up on a few things. First of all, since you know I'm the Narcopath now, I'm always on the lookout for the next source of supply, just in case you didn't know. I recall many occasions when you'd take me out to your friends' parties and gatherings. I would take special note of any of the boys there or some of the girls that you would take interest in. Like if I was talking to one of them, you'd make a big deal. What were you talking to him for so long? I wrote that one's name down in my little book. And then if it was a chick, same thing. I built this book up over a long period. So each time, of course, when you asked the question, I'd have a perfect answer like, oh, she was asking about my hair. It was so boring talking to her. I said that to steer you off track. And with the hot guys, I would find something that probably wasn't even true, like that one hot football guy that was... I tried to keep you distracted by getting me a drink of something I knew they didn't have any of that you were going to look for forever, and you found me still talking to him later. I figured I better come up with something. I told you, oh, thank you for rescuing me from him. Oh, his breath stinks. It smelled like ass. And you bought it. I use lines like that all the time. Little did you know that I was filling up my little black book for potential new targets, and I recruited a few of them during our time together. I just told him, don't tell him this, but we're not getting along. Oh, it looks like we are. It's just an act we put on for the public. But I really like you. Don't tell anyone else. I used that same line on at least 7 other people, and I had all 7 of them, too. It's only until you stepped forward and tried to smear my name by telling them what I was doing that things started to fall apart. And you know what? I just moved out of town because I wasn't going to deal with you and your drama. How dare you try to ruin my fun and ruin my life? Well, honey, you ain't going to get away with it.
Hi, I'm the Narcopath. You may recognize me. If you'd like to buy a realistic artificial replica of my Virginia, call the number on your screen.
Act now. The first 100 callers are going to get a double Virginia of mine. They can share it with their friends. We can enter it together. Comes to you from the Narcopath factory. I designed it, and I molded my Virginia for it. So enjoy it. I know I will. News flash. Recently added. It squirts. That's right. Fill it with the fluid of your choice, and you can go at it, and it will squirt for you. You can't get more realistic than that now, can ya? Call the number on your screen now. Buy one for a family member, or a friend, or a wife, or a husband. Loads of fun are headed your way.